I'm out of paprika.
Okay.
We're live.
Homie, let it go. But okay, okay, welcome. This is the Surviving 1984 pod. This is to let you know about what has been going down on the first two rounds of this game. Let me tell you something. It's been a fun season. It's been a fun cast. And I'm here with a couple of my favorite prod members. So we don't talk about the other ones to talk about these people. So first, my name's AJ. Hey, if you don't know, get on my level. But let's throw it to my friend to this side. Zach, how's it going?
It's going well. Glad to be here. This is my fourth season on Prod for 1984, so it is good to be here again for another surviving season.
Baby, we had to have a veteran on here, but I also had to have my rookie veteran, my newbie veteran, our first time on Prod. How you doing, Taisha?
I'm doing great. First time I'm prod, in the Garden of Eden, doing my thing. Best prod member. Oh, wait.
All right, I like that. I like that energy. But first things first, I would like to get this started. We are 2 rounds in. We have lost 2 people. Sadly, Rachel and Cody has departed from us. So before we talk about those two, how are you liking the season so far? How are you liking this cast? I'm throwing it to Zach.
The cast is interesting. We have a really interesting mix of people who are very, very active and people who are very, very inactive, and it's creating a very interesting dynamic. And with such small tribes to start off with, it's also made it very interesting. And I think that the small tribes, well, obviously we knew that it was what we were planning and how we were going to set up the early stage of the season. I don't know if necessarily I personally anticipated how crazy it really is 5 people going to the first 3 tribals. And if a tribe loses more than once, you got even less than that. I mean, at this point, if Tigris or Euphrates lose the next challenge, they're going to be having 4 people at tribal. That's kind of crazy. And I didn't personally foresee that. But it's interesting, but it really keeps people on their toes. And I think that's why we have some really, really active people, because they know that it's possible that they could attend the tribal with like 4 people, and that's not a good scenario this early.
No, truly. And just so that way everyone's caught up to what Zach's talking about, we do have exile this season, where the losing tribe, one of their members are sent to exile. They are exiled from Eden, and they will not be attending tribal council, so they cannot be voted out, but they also cannot vote. And you can tell me I'm wrong, Taisha, but I feel like that twist in this game has already impacted a couple of our votes.
Oh, 100%. Because you got to understand, like, in a game that moves so fast, paranoia, you're not there, you don't know what's going on. Some people want to go there, it's their strategy. So I think all in all, it's making the game speed up and fast. So I'm liking seeing the players play harder just because of that.
No, truly, and I think Cody said it last round. There's legit nowhere to hide, and I love that. I like people being in such a small place. They do have to play harder than normal. If they're not playing up to snuff, they could go very early. So I do like the small tribes in that form, but like the fear of like, okay, I might not even have my closest ally here for my next vote, or our target for this tribal is gone to exile, and now what are we going to do? So I'm excited. I think this is a very interesting crop of people, some fun characters. The ones that are around, very fun. And to the ones that aren't, we will call you out on the spot. And but first, let's talk about our fallen castaways. And let's talk about the first boot that genuinely nobody saw coming. Rachel. Rachel was voted out from the Euphrates tribe. She was voted out from the Euphrates tribe, and coming into this game, I know every member of Prod was like, Rachel is going to go places. She's going to have an impact, and I really do think Rachel got unlucky in this game because first off, her job has required her to be like away when a lot of her tribe is online. But even with that being said, on other tribes, Rachel will be like killing it. Like Rachel will be like one of the more active people on this tribe. Like Rachel will be in a good, solid position. And it sucks that both her job as well as who was sent to exile, because we're not going to talk about how Ronnie might have been in danger of the tribe if Ronnie went. We'll talk about that when we get to Ronnie. But I think this was just a unfortunate circumstances that caused for a very unconventional first boot in Rachel. What do you think about that, Zach?
Absolutely. I did not see Rachel going anytime soon, certainly not the first boot in the game. She was connecting well with people from what I saw, but work really got in the way of that. And I think that just the tribe dynamics were not something that she was used to, or it was a group of people that she really was not used to vibing with or connecting with that well. And so I think between that and her work schedule, it just wasn't clicking. It wasn't coming together the way that it should have, or she's used to it coming together, not exactly sure there. And ended up resulting in what we had, and definitely was unfortunate because I know she has so much potential. She had so much to give, and with the right people on her tribe or the right work schedule, she would have been killing it, and she would have been so active they never would have thought about getting rid of her for activity reasons. So definitely not something I saw coming first boot at all.
What about you, Taisha?
I played Rachel before, so like I know what type of player she was. I did not think she was gone. And so I think that just tells you automatically just how this twist and everything has affected, these tribes are so small, they're going out to exile. And I mean, it's really just a luck of the draw. Like you have to be able to adapt yourself with every single group that you're in. Like we said, if Rachel was on different tribes, she would have probably still been here. So it just all depends on how you're able to adapt in your situation.
No, truly. And I personally played with Rachel on a 6-person tribe, and I remember sitting there firsthand, seeing her work her magic, and had a lot of these people that she was playing with who did not know Rachel, because I know Rachel is a big name in the community. Like Rachel worked her magic on them, and they're like, you know what, we rock with Rachel, and we're willing to fall in line. So the fact that we're losing is truly a force in this game this early, it is a shame, and I do think the season could take a hit from it. But someone had to be the first boot. And with that being said, someone also had to be the second boot. And that is Cody. Like another shocker, Zach?
Absolutely, absolutely as well. I've seen Cody play, and he is a heavy hitter. He is very active typically. He's a good game player, and he knows what he's doing, and he's here to play. And I did not expect him to be the first boot on his tribe either. And he started off strong. I thought he was the most talkative on the night one call for his tribe, and then he got sick over the weekend and wasn't around as much. And I think it was one of those situations where had he just been a little bit more active with a couple more people on the tribe, it would have been a different story altogether. But unfortunately, the name kind of landed on him because he just wasn't the person that people were connecting with, unfortunately. But I didn't see it coming.
Yeah, and I love Cody. Like Cody coming in with his little crown, starting everything off. I for sure was like, oh, Cody's gonna have a big personality coming into the game. So seeing him go early, it's sad, but that just shows you how stacked our cast is because there's so many different people that can make a big impact on the game.
No, truly. And I think Cody might have been one of the first people I saw that was really like, I want to talk strategy. I want to talk game. And so seeing him go this early is very disheartening. Is because I knew we had a good game player on hand. He would have been a fun presence to have on here. It was very unfortunate, like similar to Rachel. I just think compared to what was happening on on his tribe, like he happened to be the one that was like least active and least talking at the time of his elimination, which is very unfortunate because let's keep it above 50. The moment that Cody came online, he put up a fight. And he had these people pondering, being like, you know what? I think I might flip the vote to save Cody. And I do think Cody was very close. I think there's like one or two factors that came into Cody ultimately being the second boot of the season. But it was not for a lack of fight in Cody. I will say that. And I respect that full-heartedly. But with that being said, now that we talked about the two people that are gone, let's talk about these psychopaths that are still playing. Now we're going to start with the Tigers tribe. I be honest, I like the Tigers tribe. They were the people that voted out Cody. And let's talk about a person who I think is very interesting in this entire equation, and that's Alex. Uh, I enjoy Alex. Alex is so fun. Alex is a lot of great energy. He is a lot of great vibes. I will say one of the factors that almost kept Cody was like Alex and Cody knew each other from past games, and there was a little bit of beef there. So I was interested to see how that was going to play out in the season. We saw how it ended, but I think Alex is a very fun person who is trying to connect with people. He started off slow because he was sick, and he still is a little sick, which is very unfortunate, but he's still putting in the work, putting the effort to get to know people. I think he has a really good relationship with Antoinette, which is great. He has a good relationship with, I think, most of the people on the tribe he has a good relationship with, but and I think I saw this a little bit with the last round. I think Alex could overplay his hand. What do you think, Zach?
Absolutely. With the first vote on his tribe yesterday, I think that he was in a really good position between everybody, and he was doing a little bit more than I would have done, I would say. You know, I don't think it was anything that anyone picked up on, or that anything was really, no one's ears perked up, I don't think, or anything like that. So clearly it's all working out. But it did have the potential in some crazy scenario where people could have, really took a look at the tribe and seen things, and seen, the position that he was in there. I mean, it was a vote of 5 people, so it's nothing really too crazy, but still, the position he was in was a very important one yesterday.
And I feel like the type of person Alex is in general, like he does at least try to get around to everybody. And it's probably gonna catch up to him soon. But for this first vote, I don't think it was like too much on him. No one was looking at him.
No, I think he did a good job making sure that he comes out of this round not in a bad position, and I respect that out of a player. I just see some potential dangers going down further in the game once we get deeper into it for Alex. But I'm feeling good about Alex right now. I like what he's doing. I'm gonna be a buck with you. Someone I'm feeling a little bit better about right now is Amaya. Whenever Amaya shows up, I enjoy Amaya. Like you can see it on the calls that the result calls when talking about exile. Amaya has no problem with taking charge of a conversation. She has no problem like steering it in whatever direction she wants to do it. She was ultimately the person who was sent to Eden. And I think Maya's presence was definitely missed during the voting period, and everyone felt good with Amaya. Cody was like, dang, I hate that Amaya's gone. Kennedy's like, yo, Amaya being gone is such a damper on my game. Like, people really like Amaya, her energy. She is such a force. And I think on the track that Amaya is currently on, I could see Amaya as one of our potential winners of the season. Talk to me, Zach.
No, I completely agree. I think that Amaya's in a really, really good position, and people like her. People are drawn to her. She's friendly. She doesn't like small talk. She openly said that, and I think that's why she hasn't really been on calls with anybody from what I've seen. But during the exile roundtable, she's more than willing to speak her mind and say her thoughts. And she hasn't played a game in a while, but I think you can tell she's very excited to be here and playing another game, and playing with people she's never met before or seen in her life. And that's always a positive, to have people in this game who have never seen anybody. They don't have any prior connections. It's just a complete brand new slate for them. And it's a joy to watch people like her playing from scratch, basically.
And you see, like, I thought at first when Amaya was like taking over that it was going to be detrimental for her. But I think her tribe needs someone like her, the people around her, like the quieter people. Like, you got to think about it. They might want to use her in order to get their own points across, or use her as a shield. So at first I was worried for her, but seeing the reactions her tribe is having to it, I'm thinking that it might also benefit her in the long run.
Like I'm gonna be a buck with y'all. And my only fear with Amaya at this point in time is if we get to a situation where like a merge or something like that, I think Amaya could be viewed as a figurehead, as a big move, a big shot that people would want to take. I I think her tribe right now, they love her, and I feel good about her. I would like to see her work her magic on the other players on this game and see if they can also fall in love with her as her tribe has. And if if she's able to do it, baby, write her the check. Well, there's no money for this, so write her the win. Now, let's talk about someone else that I'm gonna be a buck. A lot of members of Proudverse also high on, and I know a lot of members of the Viewers Lounge is also high on. Let's talk about the woman, the myth, the legend, Antoinette. Zach, tell me your thoughts.
Antoinette is a beast in games and challenges. Like she's just in games, like she just knows what she's doing. And she's very good socially. So far, she's been on the quieter side from what I would typically expect from her, but I think that's just kind of the vibe of things so far. I think that when things get more active, she will be right there in the midst of things. I don't think that she lets anything get past her in that way. You know, when things get active and things get really, gamey and the swap comes and all that, I think that she's definitely going to be somebody to look out for. And she's in a good position on her tribe right now as well. She really has a good handle on things. She has a good relationship with Alex. She has a good relationship with Kennedy, Daniel. Like she's really got it together right now, and I'm not surprised.
And me either. Like literally, like it's Antoinette. Like she's a queen, and if you look at it on her tribe, no one really has anything bad to say about her. So I mean, honestly, I feel like she's probably in one of the better positions of anyone in the game right now.
No, I really do like Antoinette's spot. I think Antoinette is doing good. Like a lot of people like her. I know her and Alice has a really good bond. I think before Cody left, Cody felt one of his best connections was with Antoinette. So Antoinette does, even though she has been on the quieter side, like you said, Zach, she does the work to make people feel good with her and want to be in close with her and want to be like, I want to know what Antoinette's opinion is on things. So I'm really high on Antoinette. I think Antoinette is going to be a fun force. And if they don't take care of her soon, she's going to just smile her way to a win. But like, I like her. Let's talk about someone I'm more worried about, though. And Zach, this is your friend. So tell me about Daniel.
So Daniel, I think so. It's been interesting. So Daniel was the counter vote when Cody left last night, and it's interesting. He's honestly, I think he's been the most active on the entire tribe. From what I've seen, he's had the most conversations. He's called with people. He's been messaging them consistently. Like he's been doing a lot, which has been good to see. And this is his first on-camera org, so he's brand new. He doesn't know anyone. He doesn't know what he's getting himself into. He has an understanding of how things work. And honestly, he's doing more than people who have played these games over and over and over again. So it's really kind of surprising, and it's pleasantly surprising in my opinion. But for him being the countervote, it really kind of, I don't know where it really came from. I think it was just kind of circumstance. Unfortunately, I don't think that it was necessarily anything that he done wrong. I think it was just kind of the way that the connections and the alliances and everything fell. So if Tigris loses again, I don't honestly think, I think he'd be fine, to be honest, based on things, because I don't think it's one of those situations where, Cody left, Daniel was the counter, and then if they lose again, Daniel's just automatically going to go because he was the counter last time. I don't think that's going to happen, to be quite honest. I don't know what will happen because these tribes are so small. It's really kind of impossible to predict, especially with exile as well. But I know he's enjoying himself in his first on-camera game. He's enjoying talking to people, and that's of the utmost importance at this point. And so I hope that at the end of the day, he can make it further and at least just get the experience. And even if he doesn't make it to, let's say, jury or the end of the game, at least have the experience of surviving a few votes and meeting some cool people, and then maybe he'll play another game. Who knows?
I like Daniel. I think Daniel brings a lot. It might just be like his activity levels that makes me so high on Daniel, because I feel like Daniel would have went, last round, like had things went a different way. So like if like let's say Tigers does go back, I mean, do y'all think he's a counter vote still?
I could see it, but I don't know if he'll be the majority vote.
Like here's why I am worried for Daniel. First off, I love Daniel. I'm so happy he's here. I'm so happy he's able to get his feet wet in this community on this on cam game. I see a lot of great things from Daniel. I think Daniel could be a great player. And I would say, like, word out to Daniel. I think Daniel was actually the first person to throw out a name yesterday, which happened to be Cody's, and Daniel got his way. So I'm very impressed, especially with someone that's not familiar with this format, like being like, I'm not about to sit around and wait to be told what to do. Let me try to push a thing. My fear with Daniel is, unlike other tribes, there is no clear bottom. I will say that real quick. I don't see anyone like definitively on the bottom of the tribe. However, I don't see any of the girls, if I'm being honest with you, being voted on if they go back to tribal, which leaves Daniel and Alex. Mm-hmm. And I don't know which way. I know Daniel has a really good bond with Kennedy. I know Alex has a really good bond with Antoinette. Mm-hmm. I know Amaya's universally liked.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how it plays.
Yeah. I think, honestly, and I may be crazy for this, but I do think that if they lose again before the swap, I think it's going to be Alex or Antoinette going. And my rationale for that is that Kennedy and Daniel are basically a final two. Kennedy and Amaya really click, so they're not going to be going against each other. So I think what's going to happen is Daniel, Amaya, and Kennedy are going to vote together. Okay. And then Alex, right now, as of the challenge performances, his has not been great this round. So if they lose, that would be a big factor right there. So they could easily just vote for him because of that, as well. Because if the girls all decide to stick together, let's say Antoinette, Kennedy, and Amaya stick together, Kennedy and Amaya are going to say, I'm not voting for Daniel. Well, they might then say, we're going to do Alex, and Antoinette's she's not going to risk her game round 3 for Alex. I don't think it's going to happen. So that's why I think it might go to Alex. But on the flip side, I could see a scenario where, because of the alliance that Alex, Kennedy and Daniel kind of have going on, they have to look at Antoinette and Amaya. And I don't think Kennedy is going to go for Amaya at all. Daniel doesn't really trust Antoinette. And so I think they'll land on Antoinette. And I think I could see the two of them and Amaya going that way. Next thing you know, Antoinette is in trouble. But last round, she was super safe.
Better use that idol.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Can't leave it in your pocket.
I know, and that's really could shake things up. It really can. It just has to be a matter of if you see it coming, because it's so early in the game. You don't want to use it so soon and then not have the entire rest of the game.
So let's talk about this last person. And I'm gonna be honest, I would say arguably my favorite person on the cast so far. Let's talk about Kennedy. Oh my gosh, Kennedy is such a bundle of joy and happiness and wonderful energy. Like, honestly, give her movie night like she needs. She wants that movie night so bad.
No, she does. She does. She suggested that they have a movie night, which I thought was a great idea, honestly, for tribe bonding, and no one really seemed to bite at it. And then the day of tribal, she's like, we could still do a movie night, like a celebration. Like, what you mean, like after someone goes home? Like y'all are gonna celebrate with a nice little movie, like 50 Shades of Grey or something? Like what? So I don't, but it didn't happen, obviously. But I would totally be down to have a movie night. Maybe we'll just have one in her project. I don't know.
She's definitely probably the most entertaining person on that tribe. I will say hands down. I do, like we said before, I feel like Kennedy on a different tribe, a different tribe with different people, she would thrive so much. And I think even on this tribe, she's thriving. I think she's one of those people that can adjust with whoever she's playing with.
No, I love Kennedy, and I think Kennedy is has such great energy, such a beloved person. Like the fact that last round, no one wanted to do anything unless Kennedy was involved. Unless Kennedy was there, people did not want to do anything, and I think that just screams highly to Kennedy as the potential that she can have in this game, the amazing social player she is. I do have a qualm with Kennedy. If I'm looking at this objectively. I'm not going to say strategically she could use some work because I think she has a really strong mind for the game. But the way that she handled Cody, I was like, Oh, this was not good. This was not smooth. And I fear like, and this is just a pre-jury. So I feel like Kennedy needs to like clean that up a little bit once she get to the post merge, so that way she's like, because I do believe Kennedy can make a deep run in this game. I really do. I would not be surprised at all. Like if she's in the final five, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. uh, but like I think she could like use some more polishing on the edges of her strategic side, and I think if we can get that, I think Kennedy could be arguably one of the most dangerous players on the field.
I completely
And guess
agree.
what? She's going to send a GIF and you won't even realize.
I know, no, I completely agree. And so from what we've heard from Sky, who knows Kennedy, Kennedy has done well in games before. She's been a killer trader, no pun intended. In a trader's game, like she knows what she's doing. She's clearly got that strategic mind. But I agree. Basically, just telling Cody, I'm going to decide who to vote at tribal council. Like that's just not that's just not okay. And so to think that that is an okay method, and then if she tries that again at the next tribal council, like absolutely not. That's ludicrous, in my opinion. The fact that Cody did not like call her out right then and there and say like, just tell me you're voting for me. You might as well. Like, I'm gonna decide at tribal council. What the fuck is that? Like, who decides at tribal council? That's ridiculous. So it's ridiculous, but I do have to give props to Kennedy and Daniel together as a pair because they really did, even though it may not have seemed like it, they really did run that vote because they were the ones who got on call first and they decided, okay, what are we gonna do? Now that call was a little awkward because they were kind of tiptoeing around stuff. Like they both wanted to work together, they both like each other and trust each other, but they both didn't want to say really a name first. And so after a lot of tiptoeing, they finally, which they were like, well, do we do Alex or Cody? Alex or Cody? And then they finally landed on Cody. And then they kind of enacted that plan. And I don't think Daniel has any idea how close he was to actually going. Um, Delusions of grandeur, maybe. But Kennedy really, little does she know, she saved his ass because Antoinette and Alex flat out agreed with one another that they were not going to vote against Kennedy because they didn't want to make it seem like they were a group without her. So little does she know, she basically decided single-handedly if Cody or Daniel left. And she should be proud of that, even though it wasn't on purpose.
But also, like, Kennedy is the type of player where she wants chaos. Like, she doesn't like when things are quiet. She doesn't like when things are just boring. She's the type of person that's going to, like, create chaos. And if she puts herself in a situation, I don't think she's going to be too upset about it. She's one of those type of players. And I think that's what's so exciting about watching her play. And also, like, watching her try to, like, navigate this game strategically as well.
No, truly, and I'm excited to see what Kennedy does. Whether it's chaotic or not, I'm excited to see Kennedy, and I'm so ready to see what happens with, because I really do like this tribe. I like everyone left on it, and I'm excited to see what happens next. Now, let's go to a tribe I do not like as much. Let's talk about Mesopotamia, who has yet to lose a person, sadly. um, and I think they're wonderful people. I truly do. We interviewed all of them. We saw the interviews. We like everyone that we cast, but in this game they are not given what needs to be gave. And I was going to go alphabetical, but let's just talk about the two people who are active on this track. So so let's start with Fredo.
Fredo is a gem. Honestly, Fredo, he has brought so much. He's so active. He hates the tribe, and I would too. They're way too quiet for him, and I think that he should be. I mean, really, he should be counting his blessings because if they had lost any round at this point, if they lose this coming round, I mean, I don't see a way or scenario where he goes home. I mean, he's basically got kind of, there's pros and cons because he's basically safe in my opinion until a swap or a merge comes. But unfortunately, when a swap or a merge comes, he doesn't have those bonds with people in his tribe because they're not active enough to have those bonds. And he has Luis, which is a discussion of its own. But the rest of the tribe, they're not they're not allowing those types of conversations to be had. There was some talk of Luis and Fredo kind of linking up with Autumn at one point or linking up with Aaron because they had good conversations with those two girls, when they were on calls with them as a tribe. But the second those calls end, the conversation stops. And that's a problem. And it's not their fault. It's the other people's faults. Not to call them out, but they're just not doing what needs to be done. And so I'm hoping that when the tribes get shaken up, uh, Fredo will find a place that he feels more comfortable where people will be talking. And I think that for the others as well who are on Mesopotamia and are kind of inactive, they may get a rude awakening when things swap around because they're going to see, wait, wow, like everyone here is active. I really have to step it up. And you know what? If they don't, they'll get voted out. It's fine. Because if they're not going to step it up, then they don't need to be here anyway.
And like Fredo, I have honestly come like a complete 180 on like Fredo. He is amazing. I love him. I do think he has, I can say this, out of anybody that I've seen play so far, I feel like he has a good chance to make it really far. I don't see many people getting agitated with Fredo at all. And I'll say this even over like Lewis. And I love the showmance. It's so cute. It's my favorite thing to watch. It's probably the most entertaining thing. If you get on call, like if you go on there, like they're on call. They're on call every day. They're active and they're giving us some content over there. And I feel like as soon as they break away from that tribe, they're gonna flourish wherever they are. Definitely Fredo. He's like he wants to make these moves and he wants to make these connections. And I think once he finds his people, he's going to be able to showcase more of his personality and his gameplay a lot more than he is able to right now. And we also have to like think about it. They've been safe. Like they haven't been able to like showcase like what they're able to do yet.
No, truly, they have been safe. So I think everything is perfectly fine with them right now. Love me some Fredo. I think Fredo, like Taisha said, listen, if it's 12:30 a.m., Fredo and Lewis aren't called. Like end story. And I think it's such a fun duo that I'm excited to see be able to play with other people because I think this is like it's like they're confined right now in like a cage and they're just ready to be let out so that way they can play. And I'm excited to see what Fredo and Lewis can do. It's going to be great. It's going to be good. It's going to be fun, whatever happens. And I'm going to be here for the ride. And now that Taisha talked about the wonderful showmance that we have this season, we also got Lewis on the other hand. And Lewis makes me laugh. I'm going to be a bug with you. Lewis is like just so funny unintentionally. And I think he is also just ready to make a move along with Fredo. And they're just ready for something to happen. Like, and here's the thing, and I respect this. Like, they're running the game. Well, not running the game. They're like the easy, safest people on the tribe because they talk to people. They actually put in the time every day to actually like try to get on, send a message or anything, and even if it's not reciprocated. And that's why they're like, to be blunt, bored with them because they're not getting what they want to be returned. But I'm excited to see whatever Lewis brings next. I think I'm more worried in this game overall for Lewis than I am for Fredo. But either way, I do have high hopes for both of them in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. Luis is hilarious. He was supposed to be on last season, and I don't know how he would have done on last season. Last season was a whole different story from this one for sure. I mean, it's still very early in this one, and I know that last season it was very quiet early on as well, so that could still be the case here, and that things get really crazy as we go further into the game, and I hope that's what happens. But Luis, I think he's got great energy. He wants to get shit done. He's eager to make a move. He's eager to see something happen, and so am I. So we'll see what happens when the time comes. But he's fully invested, and I appreciate that wholeheartedly.
I feel like Luis is like he's eager for something. Like he's always looking for something to happen, like you said, Zach. So I think whenever he gets with the chaotic folks in the game, oh, it's gonna be so messy. And I don't know if that's gonna be good for him necessarily though. Or I don't know how people will view him. And that's what like my concern is for him. Like I don't know how other people will view him as a player.
So this is not to be disrespectful. Either if y'all have anything to say about Autumn, Aaron, Gary, or Tara.
I actually do.
Okay, hit me that.
Autumn and Erin specifically, when they've been on calls, they rock it. And they were on call together, the two of them, and they got along so well. It really seemed like the start of a good relationship. I just wish that they would continue that. And I hope that they do. Maybe if they lose and they have to go to a vote together, they will, because they had such a nice conversation on call and they were on call for a while together. And they were also on call with Luis and Fredo. And it was a really nice conversation between the four of them. And Erin really bonded with them. And so if Erin was just more active, even just a little bit, she'd be right there in an alliance with Luis and Fredo, and they'd be a power three. And I think that there's still potential for that, especially if there's a swap or something like that that can really, kind of be the catalyst for that type of a situation. I just think that they just need to be a little bit more active. And I know Autumn can be active because I've seen her do it. I know she can do it. She's very social and when she wants to be, and she's very good on one-on-one calls. She just needs to take the time to sit on those calls, but she hasn't so far, and I'm assuming it's because they haven't lost yet, which I can't blame her. But also, like, yeah, you gotta do that, But I don't know. From what I remember, I don't know if anyone's really asked her to call. And granted, she hasn't asked them, but they haven't asked her. And if they did, I think she would, in my opinion. I think if they said you want to get on a call tonight, I think she would. And that's a big difference there. I just think she doesn't necessarily think there's a reason to if they haven't lost.
I think that's the fun part about watching like these newer players play, because I feel like they're still learning the game. Because it's like if they have a target in mind, there's someone they don't like, they don't want to be the first person to like put that name out there. And I feel like with Autumn, she's so quiet, and it's like, what are you thinking? Like, what are your thoughts? And I don't know if she's waiting to find someone that she fully trusts in order to like give out her true opinions. And I just hope that she can find, like, her and Aaron had these good conversations and everything, but like when it comes to strategy, where's the strategy conversations coming in at? And that's what worries me, because it's like when it comes to it, you need to think about these votes, and people have been talking about her performance activity and everything, and that's also concerning. I think it mainly has been with Gary.
But like, here's my thing, right? And I will say, I think Autumn is good because I've heard Fredo say this. I heard Luis say this. Like, they like Autumn. They just want Autumn to be around more. They just want Autumn to talk more. And like, Erin is naturally good. I've seen some of her text convos. I've seen her on a couple of calls, and she's really good when she turns it on. And I really want to see both of them turn it on more, because I do think we do have a couple of, like, they could be strong forces in the season. And I get it. They've been winning. What is and I get the idea of like being scared to say a name early on. I understand that, especially when you're being winning. Why would you say a name and just get yourself in possible trouble? I understand that. But with that being said, there's a difference between saying a name and talking strategy and talking game. And I think and checking up on people, because I think that's all that people really want in this game. So at the end of the day, is to be like, feel like they're valued. And I think they're just, and I understand it's a two-way street. Like, a lot of things are two-way streets in most cases, but I do wish that they both can. I think they're not down and out. I'll say that, because there is a woman on this tribe that is, despite the fact that this is quote unquote inactive, there's one that is inactive above the rest, and that's Tara. uh, and it genuinely hurts saying that. But Tara, and here's the thing: like, Tara will show up for challenges. Like, Tara will show up and do her thing. If they're in the tribe chat, she will say her few little spills. But like, she just won't. Like, the one-on-ones have not been there for Tara, and I'm like so confused. What's happening?
Yeah,
Is
I
that
mean,
like?
I know Tara's a good player. I just saw her play another game where she got second or third. I don't remember which one. For being very social. Like, it was a strictly social game, and so I know she can do it. I know calls aren't really her thing, but messaging is, and that's fine. But she hasn't been messaging anyone either, and I think it's because, again, they haven't been losing, so she doesn't necessarily think she has to. Because when the time comes, she shows up, And so I think, in my opinion, if they lose, she would be there. She'd be there. She'd be messaging. I just think it would be too little too late. And I don't know if she realizes that, because maybe the game she plays, they're not like this. I don't know. But in this type of a game, you got to be messaging people and checking in every day, basically, or at least every other day. And she's not doing that, even that. So I hate to say it, because I do like her. I like her energy a lot, which she's great on the calls and everything. I just wish we saw some more of her, because again, like with this type of a tribe, it doesn't take that much to, you know, be in a safe spot. Just be a little bit active, really. That's all you got to do, you know.
And also, like, if she's not making any of these connections, when it does come time when they do lose, it's like does she go to? Who is the person that she can go to be like, this is my agenda, this is what I'm pushing. So I do feel like it's going to hurt her in the long run. Yeah, you're all winning, but you have to be able, even when you're winning in a tribe, you have to be able to like make those connections.
And like, here's the thing, because I don't think Tara could be down and out, because there has been talks about voting out if they did lose other people, Gary, if by a couple folks. However, I think like Tara just not being around has really like hurt her and the viewing, and I think she could be an easy first boot, but if she just like put in that time or effort, like maybe someone like Gary could gain more traction as the first boot of this tribe. uh I Zach says he's seen it, and I would like to see it in this game too, because if you can be a beast, Tara, be a beast. And I would hate to see you cut short just because you happen to be on the safe tribe. And if y'all have to lose a challenge to light a fire and like start playing, I'm not going to say I'm a pray for your downfall, but like I want to see more, and I know there's more that you can give, and I'm excited to see what can happen when you do lose and when it's like time to like put in a new gear. Okay. Do we have any final thoughts on that tribe, or are you ready to go to Euphrates?
I think we can move on.
Let's talk about the Messi tribe. Like these people are genuinely a trip, and I don't know if there's a better person to start talking about than Danny, because Danny has been all over the place, like in their confessionals, in their prod chats, talking to other people, like talking to the tribe. Like Danny is doing a lot, and I am here for the Danny experience. I'm being buck with you. Like every minute Danny is in this game, I know it's going to be fun. Like if Danny's on a call, I'm going to that call with Danny. Like I don't know what Danny's going to do next, and I remember one time I asked like, Danny, why'd you say that? Danny was like, you know what? That's a great question. Why did I say that? Like, oh my gosh, Danny! Like, Danny is so much fun. Danny has good connection. Danny has a connection with Hunter. If it's good or not, it depends on the day. It really do. Like, it depends on how they feeling. But like, I think Danny does have a. Even though Danny's like a lot of bundle of energy, like people like Curtis likes Danny. Like Danny has like good natural skills and social skills that I think in the calmer moments it could pay Danny dividends. Talk to me about Danny. Out of y'all.
Danny is so interesting. Danny is unfiltered, uninhibited, and will say things on call that don't make any sense game wise for them, and then they'll go into their prod chat literal seconds later and then say something that completely contradicts what they just said on call to somebody. And it's not to the effect of they're lying to the person on call to deceive them. They just said something on call that, like, they flat out just throw out a name or give a revealing piece of information on call, and then in their prod chat they're like, I actually want this person to go home. And it's like, but you just told that person a different name. Like, and it's not to trick that person. It's like actively, and this is kind of what happened with the Rachel situation. Like Danny literally threw out Rachel's name and then was in their prod chat saying they didn't want Rachel to go. And it's like, but you just threw out her name. And then Rachel went home. So like, look what you did. It's bizarre. It's really, really bizarre. they're definitely not used to these types of games. They're from the Instagram world, and so this is a complete 180 from what they typically do, and it shows. They're very much so a newbie at this. They don't understand necessarily all of the rules, spoken and unspoken, that the veterans of this side of the community would definitely know, and that's okay. It takes time to know those things or to understand our competitions, and our schedule and how we kind of operate and do things. But it definitely shows a little bit, but they're lucky that this casts a lot of people who are brand new. You've got Danny, Hunter, Daniel, Amaya, Kennedy, Tara, Autumn. Like, you got all these people who are completely new to this realm of things. And so I think it's okay here. But it's definitely showing.
They are just bringing so much. That whole tribe in general is like, if you need some entertainment, they're there. It's not boring. From night one, that's how it was. And even whenever they're safe, they've been the same way. It's not like they are only active because they feel like they're in danger. And so with Danny, I feel like Danny will be someone that it's just going to be dependent on who they're with. And I think that's what it's going to come down to, because like they do change their mind a lot. They're kind of erratic, but at the same time, there's like four other people in the game that are erratic and change their mind. So are they in a clash though? Like Hunter and Danny? It's like sometime, right? It's like, oh, sometimes they go together and sometimes they don't. So I'm kind of interested to see how that works out for them, because I don't know exactly how going forward they will fit into the mix if they're with different people, like let's say Gary, you know, someone like Antoinette, someone that gets freaked out easily. I don't know how they're going to be able to respond to someone like Danny.
Like I'm being buck with you, and I think Danny said in one of either in a text or a call with someone, she was like, they were like, yo, I'm basically an icon in the Instagram world, and I believe full-heartedly, give them 2 or 3 games and they could be an icon in this world too. Like truly, full stop. They're gonna have their stance. I think the best thing that could happen to Danny is if someone like Curtis or someone like Chris that's will like take them under the wing and be like, yo, these are the do's and don'ts. And if they do that with Danny, I think Danny, it could be scary. If Danny like gets their footing and learns like, okay, this is what we do, that'll be an interesting Danny to see. But I think either way, current Danny is a fun Danny. uh let's talk about someone else who's new to this world. Let's talk about Hunter. Aisha, that's your boy.
First of all, Hunter, I played with Hunter, so I know what Hunter brings. Hunter is chaos. Hunter is authentically himself. He doesn't try to be anybody else. What you see is what you get, honestly. Well, most of the time. He changes his mind. Like, he might tell you that he likes pickles one day, and then maybe like by the end of the night, he hates pickles. So he just changes his mind so radically. And he's the type of person, he wants people around him that are fun and that will do anything, that will talk shit. He wants those type of people around him. And I definitely think it's going to be fun if we are able to see Hunter around different groups of people. I want to see more of that strategic gameplay come out. And I'm just like interested to see how everybody else takes on Hunter, because this is the crazy tribe. How are these more mellow folks going to react to Hunter?
That goes ahead.
Okay, I was just saying, no, absolutely. I think that Hunter is clearly an acquired taste, but the tribe has acquired it, and that's what's so interesting. They really seem to like him genuinely and enjoy his company and enjoy calling with him, and it's really nice to see. And I would love to see Hunter with the other groups of people, the other tribes, and to see how they take to him and how he connects with them, because we definitely have 3 incredibly different tribes in terms of personality, style. I mean, it's really like 3 totally different groups. And when they eventually have to intermingle, when you have someone like Hunter there who's loud and unfiltered, it's going to be very, very interesting to see. And so I really hope that Hunter gets to that point, where we can see what happens then and how they handle themselves in a situation that is unfamiliar to them from what they have now. I think it'll be very, very worthwhile to watch.
Oh no, 100%. I enjoy Hunter. I think Hunter's genuinely funny as a person. I think Hunter is down for a laugh or two. Like I think Hunter, if you're Hunter's people, Hunter's go. Hunter got your back. Hunter got you, and I think that is a valuable ally to have. And I think Hunter could do. I would like to see Hunter interact with other people. Here's my fear with Hunter. Well, pause. I like Hunter in every shape or form, except when it comes to freaking Rodney, because God bless Rodney. I don't know what Rodney did to Hunter, but Hunter does not like Rodney, and Rodney does not know it. Because here's the Hunter will like, and here's signs of a good game player from Hunter. Like Hunter will fake it to Rodney. Like on call, like Hunter will and Rodney will have like a good chat. Rodney will leave being like, "Yeah, I feel so great with Hunter," and Hunter's like, "Nah, Ronnie gotta go. Ronnie ain't it, fam." So it could cross a line sometimes. And my fear with Hunter is other people notice it. And I'm talking particularly with Curtis. Curtis like I understand your distrust with Ronnie, but this is starting to like enter a territory where I don't want to be in. And I think that could get Hunter in trouble. And I don't want to see Hunter go out this early. So I would like to see Hunter like rein it in a little, at least when it comes to Rodney, and be like, you know what? I, I might not like him, but like I'm not going to trash him on every call. Let's talk about Rodney. Let's talk about Rodney. I think Rodney, if anyone got placed on the wrong tribe, it is 100% Rodney. Like Rodney, our bad. We didn't mean to say, we didn't know. Because Rodney is like has done, I would say, of everyone on this cast, has done the most homework. Like Ronnie has went back and watched other challenges, watched other people talk about this game. Like Ronnie was thinking about this, and I respect that and I love that in a player. Like someone who showed up ready to play, ready to do it. And Ronnie came in ready to find his people to play with. Unfortunately, Ronnie did not find those people. And it hurts my soul because I think Ronnie could be so good in this game. And I think Ronnie could be in a situation where he could turn it around, but I more want to see him in a different group of people so that way see someone that like is able to give Ronnie a chance. Because I feel like for the most part, Ronnie was not given much of a chance on this tribe. Ronnie's still in the game, but I remember during that first round, I heard Danny talk about it. I saw Hunter talk about like, man, the wrong person was exiled, and I'm glad that Ronnie went to exile. I'll be a buck with you. Talk to me about Ronnie.
My heart breaks for Rodney like every day of this game because Rodney tries so hard. He's such a nice, genuine person. And these people will not give him the time of day, and he doesn't even know it. Like he tries to work with them. Yes, he's a little sneaky. I'm not saying he's innocent. He does sprinkle little bits of information here and there to people. But overall, he's a super nice guy, and he's not being, this malicious person that they're painting him out to be. And he's definitely in the outskirts of the tribe, and he doesn't know it. And it's unfortunate to watch. And some of the things that have been said are definitely unfortunate as well. And so I'm hoping more than anything that Rodney can get a chance to get off his tribe. But unfortunately, I worry that even if there's a swap or something that he makes it to, and he is with new people, I worry he's going to stick with the Euphrates people he was with, even though they have no desire to keep him around. They are not loyal to him at all. But I think that he will stick with them if there's a swap and it makes sense for him to stand by some of them. And I will hate to see his game be defined by people who don't even have his back, and he's sitting there blissfully unaware that they're actually conspiring against him the whole time.
And that's kind of what I hate for Rodney. He is such like a loyal empath, and like I feel like if anything, in my mind, I think the people on this tribe on the Euphrates, they have loyal aspects. Like Hunter is really loyal, and I feel like Danny can be really loyal. Even Curtis and Chris, like they're loyal. And so it's unfortunate that Rodney is put in the position where they are putting all this distrust in him, because he's like the main person. I feel like if I was on that tribe, I'd be like, Rodney. He's the type of person that I feel like I would gravitate towards when it comes to like loyalty. And it's like sucks, especially knowing like for me, like Hunter, I know Hunter is a big person on loyalty, and it's like I feel like they would work really well together. And I just hate that Ronnie is kind of blind to that right now. I mean, they are playing it off really well to him. Like, they're acting like they are good with him and they're behind his back. I just feel like it's only going to take one person on that tribe to go back to Ronnie and tell Ronnie everything that everyone has been saying. So I'm hoping that we will see a switch up soon because I would hate to see Ronnie go.
I would also hate to see Ronnie go, but I think this goes back to what Zach's saying. Ronnie's not completely innocent. I think Ronnie was given an unfair hand to start in this game, but I think it did not help. And I'm thinking particularly when Rodney tried to put mistrust about Curtis out in the world to people like Chris and people like Danny, and they just ran right back to Curtis with that. And I think that was like really the death knell. Like even if Rodney was good, because of that move that he tried to make, has really like sunk any chance for him to find his footing on this drive, which is very disheartening. and because let me tell you something, if that's the bad move that you made, Rodney, there's people on this drive that made worse. Like I'm be a buck with you, but because of the position he was in, I feel like he has not been given a chance to like have the grace of that one of his slip ups. But that's my personal belief. Hope you do great, Ronnie. I really do. We're rooting for you. We're rooting for you, baby. Now we got two more folks. Let's talk about Chris. I think Chris is good. Chris is good socially. Like with his tribe, he is good. People enjoy talking to Chris, especially Curtis. Like Chris and Curtis, they're good. There's like there's talks about like Danny and Hunter possibly being close. Chris and Curtis are actually close, and like everything you tell Chris, Curtis is going to know. Everything you tell Curtis, Chris is going to know. And like those two are working in tandem together. I think there are a couple of current. Chris is not in the clear though currently right now, and we can talk more about that a little later. But give me your initial thoughts on Chris.
So I've played with Chris before. He's very, very active. He's very messy. He hasn't been that messy so far, but it is obviously very, very early. But give him time, and I'm sure he will be. He's very close to Curtis. He has a really good relationship there, and I think he's playing very well. He's not as active as Danny and Hunter and Rodney and Curtis, but also they're very active, so it's hard. But he is also in 2 games right now, and he is miles more active than some other people on the other tribes, so cannot complain about that at all. But he's in a really good spot, and I think that come merge and anything like that, or merge swap, what have you. I think that he'll really bring his A game. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much said it all about Chris. I do think he is a sociable player. I definitely see him going very far. He seems to be able to get the trust of people fairly easy. I mean, I feel like Rachel, for the most part, trusted Chris, and Curtis does. He might not be the number one on everyone's list, but he's not like at the end of anyone's list, which I think is pretty good right now with the position that he's in. So I could see him going far just with him on a different tribe. I feel like he'll be able to connect with people fairly well.
Like I agree, Taisha. He's not at the bottom of everyone's list, but that's because Ronnie's there. And like I think if there's a world where Ronnie is like is exiled again, then I worry for Chris, because I think someone like Danny already is looking at Chris as like someone that like could be dangerous player down the road, which he could be. Like, let's give it a buck. Like he's very good socially at this game. He's a smart player. Like he is someone that you should worry about. But the fact that like he is already being clocked by that, like that, it does worry me. And I think if Danny has sway with Hunter, in this small of a tribe, those 2 votes together, that could be dangerous for Chris. So I am a little bit worried for Chris. I don't think Chris has anything to worry about. I don't think we're going to find ourselves in that situation. But if that situation arises, I'd be like, Okay, Chris, how are we going to maneuver this situation, if that makes sense? But let's talk about Chris's counterpart in Curtis, who um everyone on the tribe loves Curtis. like Curtis rolled up in such a good spot in this game. Like Curtis came, Chris was like, "Baby, you're my number one." Danny is like, "Yo, Curtis, I want you to be my number one." Hunter is like so in on Curtis. Like Curtis is in such a good spot socially on this tribe. I am very impressed with Curtis in this game, and I think he is smart enough to make the correct moves and see where the landscape of the board is. So I'm intrigued to see how he navigates this as well as the rest of this game. Tell me your thoughts on Curtis.
No, I'm very impressed with Curtis. I think that he's been playing a killer social game so far. I just don't know if that will translate to when the other tribes have to get together, you know? If his whole original tribe is telling people that they really trust Curtis, the other tribe, the other tribes, when they hear that, should be worried, because the reality is they all do trust him a lot. And they have really good relationship with him. They have really good talks with him. And they put a lot of stock into him. And the fact that they also, none of them have really realized that, I guess, is interesting in itself. No one's compared notes yet about things, and so I don't think they will. I don't think they will anytime soon. I don't think they have to anytime soon. It's still very, very early in the game. Keep him around, use him as an ally, because I do think he's loyal to them. But I don't know what's going to happen come merge or the swap or anything like that. But I've been very impressed with him so far. He is very, very active, and he's able to connect with these people who are much younger than him, who frankly have completely different personalities, and he is able to connect with them as if he's right there with them, and he's able to make really good, solid allies out of them, and I respect that because that's not easy to do.
Let's talk about how Hunter and Danny, they linked up and was like, "Yo, I did not expect old people to be on this cast."
Yeah.
Like
That's why I'm surprised with Curtis, though. I did not think Curtis, with the tribe that he was in, was going to be able to flourish the way he has. Literally, none of them really are after Curtis in that way. And I mean, you could say Rodney might have been placing doubt and everything, but it wouldn't have worked. Like Curtis has every single last one of them. Curtis has, literally. And so I'm impressed. Don't get me wrong, I'm really impressed. But I'm nervous for Curtis as well, because when your hands are in too many pots, you're going to make someone mad. And I am concerned for him in the later rounds of the game. Right now, if they're winning, everything's fine. But when it comes down to he might make someone mad, that's where I'm concerned with Curtis.
No, I agree. And sooner or later, Curtis is going to have to start making decisions. And I think it is good because let's keep it a buck. Call a spade a spade. They are on the tribe where there's an easy boot, and so Curtis does not have to show his cards right now. But like the moment like Curtis has to show his hand, I think that's going to be very troublesome. And it's that thing in games where if you're against someone and they do something against you, you're not hurt by it. But if you feel good about that person and then they do something against you, that's the one that stings. That's the one that remains. And I'm nervous for Curtis because he is doing stellar socially right now, but he could be. I want to see how he navigates the strategic part of this game, especially the later part of this game. Because let's keep it a buck. He's going to make it to the later part of this game. So I'm intrigued. All right, we have talked about everyone. Ooh, it's been a minute. So, but do we have any final thoughts on wrapping this up?
I just think that with three extremely different tribes, when they come together, I have no clue what's going to happen. I think that that's an amazing thing. I just hope that the people who are inactive or not as active really step it up, because if they do, we will have an amazing, amazing, next few rounds ahead of us. Otherwise, we may just have a couple of boring boots of people who aren't really talking. And every game, not every game, but most games have those rounds where they just have to get rid of someone who's really just not around, and that's okay. I just hope that we don't have that many coming up.
And I'm just gonna say I love the start of the season. How it's starting off so far with our cast. I'm pleasantly surprised by like the majority of them. And so I can say that I really do think that we're gonna have some interesting rounds, even though one coming up, I'm thinking that we are, even as prod, we're gonna be shocked by the outcome. So that's always nice to see.
Like let's give it up. Like yeah, I agree with Taisha because even it's just been 2 rounds, and then both of the rounds in the project, it's like, oh my god, oh no, how's this happening? Oh no, I don't like the alternative feeder. Oh my gosh. like these people came to play, and that's what I love more. That's what I'm most excited about in this game is like even I think the people who are giving me less are for the most part here to play the game and are going to do what's in their best interest. And I'm excited. I think we have the potential of having a great season on our hands. I think it's been a fun start. I want to see the train keep going. And I'm excited. Well, this was the first 2 rounds. We will talk to you at a later date to talk more about this game, some of the mess these people have made. And I think it's going to be a fun ride. So